Hello again. We're going to take a look at another angle that we're approaching. Um, with the advent of AI, there is now a lot of people that did not participate in the software engineering world that are now engaged. Job boards are flooded with fake resumes, and everyone's just vibe coding their way through life. From the evolutionary standpoint, there's nothing wrong with that. However, the big picture here is that um, there is a paradigm shift when it comes to software engineering and the traditional tech stack in general. Typically, and this mirrors the way a computer works, right? So you have a disk that stores data, you have some RAM, and you have a CPU that processes things, does some calculation on that data. Then you have a graphics processor and a monitor that shows you stuff, right? Same things works with a application. You have some data that's stored somewhere on a server, on a disk, on a blockchain, wherever. You have a middle layer that takes that data, does something with it, and then you have the front end that displays that information to the user and acts as that interface for that user to work with that information. Now, that middle layer, typically what happens is the middle layer has forever been in control of the way in which the user, the end user, interacts with the data and sees the data. So we have this thing called a web server. Its job, just like a server at a restaurant, is to take what's been cooked in the kitchen from the back end and serve it to the consumer. The consumer doesn't get to pick the manner and the style in which it is served. The consumer always has to just take it the way it's provided. So you go to a website, and when I go to the website and when you go to the website, we both see the same exact thing. So we started out with static HTML, right? And then came JavaScript, and we started to move things around, and we have fancy CSS and timers and all these sliding things and cool stuff, right? And then we grew that to the next evolutionary phase, which is dynamically generated data. So the web app came into being where we can programmatically display different data for different users based on who it is. So then you have all these frameworks, Angular and React and everything else that came into being for the purpose of allowing a programmer to not have to program 10 million different web pages. We can program one web page, parameterize that web page, and then populate that data dynamically. In order to best achieve that, we have all these frameworks. The only reason any of these frameworks exist is to facilitate the programmer's ability to construct the application the way they want and get the end result. These um, paradigms, these um, approaches to software development are becoming less relevant because whenever you use a framework, you get the benefit of the shortcut of having it help you not have to write 10,000 different static HTML pages. But in exchange, you get the overhead, you get technical overhead like server CPU cycles, right? But you get technical debt and you get risk, things that can go wrong. You got to now know the framework. You got to pay somebody that knows the framework. You got to deal with all the security issues. You got to update things. And when you in your business have somebody that uses a particular framework, and then leaves, now you're stuck having to go hire somebody that knows how to do that specific thing. And these people get paid a lot of money. You might pay $180,000 a year for somebody that knows how to, to do Angular and or Ruby or in any of the stuff, right? And the forest through the trees is that it only exists to facilitate the programmer's ability to do stuff. They're human, right? So we create these abstractions to make it easier for us. Now, that middle layer is going away. In the next 10 years, there will be no middle layer. The middle layer will be replaced by AI completely. Because now the AI can produce the interface. The AI is, think about it like this. Instead of cooking the food in the kitchen and having the server bring it to you the way that the cook wanted you to eat it, now we have a big hibachi table sitting in front of us where they just bring us the ingredients and we can cook. I just say, give me the ingredients, and in 5 seconds I can just make whatever I want. That's what we have now. So what we've done today in this project is I built a client only um, uh, browser, and it doesn't work. It's not even a browser. It's something different because it's not simply for browsing websites. What it does is it uses the power of AI to gather data and show it to you the way that you want to see it. Now, it's got a long way to go, and we've got to speed it up a lot, but the more access to data it has, the more it can do this. Because we can build a web page in a matter of seconds, we no longer need to be served that web page. And the most important thing is we no longer need to be served code over the internet that then we execute. The major security hole here in the entire design is that the web server sends code to your computer and says, run this code. That's a problem, and it's been a problem since the beginning. So we have all these security frameworks and these protocols to prevent bad things from happening, and it's been a failure. So what if the web server doesn't send you any code anymore? The web server just sends you data, and your local machine decides how to show that data to you. We can do it now. We are so close, and it's what's coming up here in a little bit. So let's take a look. We have an AI. We have integrations that the AI can define. We saw in our last video with the CRM that we can have the AI write scripts to integrate with things, right? We have components. I can have the AI create components. And we have layouts. A layout is a web page with components organized. Now, those we can have basic elements, HTML elements, or we can have literal charts and graphs and things, tables that we have built and saved, and then we can reuse them efficiently. So instead of having the AI reproduce all the HTML and JavaScript and CSS over and over again, it only does it once. You like that, you save it. You want to see that report again, it brings it right up without having to use any tokens, any extra effort, and then you can actually improve upon it and get it working the way you want. And then you can export this and share it with a friend. So first let's take a look at this cool feature which helps us browse the internet in a very efficient way. Similar to the CRM, we securely store credentials. We have a credential store where the AI can save your username and password. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say go to par-search.ai and log in. First of all, par-search.ai, that's my site. It's really cool. We use AI to search for cars, and you should check it out. Second of all, I'm telling it to log in. Now, it needs to know me.